presentation is called Listening to Parents, Listening to Myself, a Systemic Encounter with Autism, Emotions and Family Legacy. In this talk, I share what I've learned as both a mother and a practitioner. Listening to parents has informed my understanding of autism, even though I have had over 29 years with my son. This is not just about diagnosis, it's about relationships, emotions, and legacy. That's what I've discovered. Next slide, please. Introduction. Next. Okay, Gail, the next slide. Thank you. Yeah, autism is not something families prepare for, and, these parents felt that a lot of professionals, were putting pressure on them. They felt that they're not good parents. They were supposed to know all this from start. So the journey often begins in confusion and concern. Many parents feel alone. This presentation reflects the voices of those parents and what I've learned from working beside them. It's also about how systemic practice helps us connect the dots across generations, emotions, and behaviors. Next one, please. Next one, sensory and communication challenges. Okay. Many parents describe their children as sensitive to sound, light, and touch. Some children didn't speak, others repeat words, but didn't use them to communicate. These parents often felt judged or blamed. Especially most of them talked about how school have judged them and blamed them and said to them, oh, the child was okay at school. How come your child is having problem at home? So there's this issue of, why are they okay at school and why they are not okay at home? They were trying their best, but didn't know how to help their children. Professionals misunderstand their child's behavior or focus only on discipline. This made parents feel powerless. Next one, please. Some parents were afraid. Even though they want their children to be, diagnosed, they were afraid of the autism label. They worried it would change how their child was treated by the system, treated by family members, and treated by their peers. The fear of being judged made it hard to seek help. Families often delayed assessment or rejected the diagnosis. They needed space to talk openly and without shame. But still, they saw that a lot of people kept, judging them, especially professionals, people around them. When you're going to the supermarket, your child will have a fall, or your child is having isms or having tantrums, and people are looking at you as a bad mom. So the next one, please. Parents told me they felt watched and criticized from schools, from professionals, and even their own family members. People often assumed poor parenting. You're a bad mom. You don't know what you're doing. You need help with your parenting. No one asked what support they needed. This blame created silence and fear. It pushed for families further away from services, because they feel if I go to my GP, I'm going to be criticized. If I go to the school, they're going to criticize me. If I decide to go for therapy, they would think I'm insane. So what's the point? Even one parent said that they actually said to her that, there's a counter-transference going on between her and her child. That is a learned behavior, that because of her mental health, that is what is being seen in her child. So next one, please. Okay. So we shared pregnancy and birth experiences, and many parents shared stories about difficult pregnancies or birth. And I was reliving my own experience because I had similar. We looked at it that almost 80% of us had exactly the same the same experience during pregnancy, during labor, and after the child was born. Some felt ignored in hospital. Others had previous losses that were never spoken about. These early experiences shaped how they related to their children. Some carried fear, grief, or guilt, or no one had asked them about it until now. They felt, oh my God, somebody is asking us about how our pregnancy went. Somebody is asking us, was it planned? Was it unplanned? Somebody is asking us now, oh, how was your emotional well-being before pregnancy? How was it after pregnancy? How was it now? How is it at present? Nobody cares. Nobody is asking them, but somebody is not listening. So I was in a position to now listen to all these facts. Next one, please. Okay. When families had the chance to explore their stories without judgment, something shifted. Using systemic tools like timelines, genograms, help parents see patterns without pointing fingers. And I remember one parent saying to me, oh, I don't think, my child is got autism. I think it's something to do with trauma due to DV. So a lot of parents were getting confused about trauma, secure attachment, what is actually going on. Is this really autism? They began to understand their child and themselves with more compassion. Next one, please. So, we're looking at reflection and transformation. Something powerful happened when parents shared with each other. They were able to handhold each other, share their story. They realized they were not alone. And that lifted them, that made them happy. Shame began to lift. I could see that shame began to lift, cultural barriers began to lift. They could see their experience in others, and even myself, who was there. Instead of feeling like victims, they became curious observers, researchers of their own families. They moved from punishment to protection, from blame to understanding. And I remember one grandmother saying, oh, she's horrible. And the next day, she started externalizing it. She started saying that autism is horrible. It made her horrible, rather than saying, my child is horrible. She's nasty, or seeing themselves as victim. So they started developing empathy for their children. So the next slide, please. So we don't need to fix families. Sometimes we're working and we say, oh, we have to fix these families. Don't need to. We just need to listen. So listening alone gives you the answer. Listening alone makes you bring yourself in there. I always say to families, you don't need to make your child, neurotypical. You need to go into their world, and they need to know that you have accepted them. It's about acceptance. It's about love. It's about going into their world and trying to find answers rather than inviting them to your world for them to seek answers. We can use reflective question, validate parents' emotions, and avoid rushing to label or prescribing. A lot of times people want to prescribe, or label things. I remember if a parent saying to me, oh, because my daughter kept saying a particular word that the doctor felt, oh, I think he's got tics, So, we just run into, or he's got Tourette syndrome. So people go into labeling quickly without sitting down to understand the whole system. Systemic practice invites us to sit with discomfort and make room for meaning. It's about making room for the meaning. Listening is an intervention itself. Just listening. Because for me, I felt listening to these people was an intervention for myself and for them. So the next one. So sitting with them changed me. I stopped rushing in with advice, because most of the time you come in, you rush in with advice. I allowed silence, because I can see that even though there were 28 people sitting there, their experiences were different. Their encounter in the system was different. Their emotional experience was different. It was all very different. I started listening with my heart, not with my head. I saw autism as another way of being, not a problem to be solved. And I saw the strength in every parent who showed up, even with the pain. You can see that. They were happy. They were happy to see others in their shoes. It's not about trying to jump in quickly to change. It's not about seeing it as something that we need to fix, but it's about looking at it as something that you're curious. I say to parents, you need to be curious. Curiosity is the key. So the final one. So what I would say is that parents are not broken, okay? They are doing the best they can. Listening to them reshaped how I view autism and family life. So let us honor their strengths and not question their love. And let us keep listening with curiosity, respect, and humility. For me, it has changed my whole way of seeing autism, and my way of, when I see a client in front of me, my aim is to listen. My aim is not into clinicals, but into practice, into looking deep into their emotions and finding meanings. Thank you very much.